Good day everyone, this is Mohammad Nazim Firdaus and today we are here for this topic, and that is detailed reading. So first, the question probably, what is detailed reading? Definitely we'll be talking about that, but today's our topic will be reading comprehension detailed reading. And in this particular slide narration we will be talk about not only talk about the detailed reading, but also we'll learn how to read in detail in order to get the complete sense of a written text. We'll know the all pros and cons of reading comprehension in this particular slide. Definitely we do not have much scope to have better knowledge in reading comprehension in this course, but definitely the scopes which are given in this particular course definitely will be covered up, and that will be a very healthy learning for you, which will help you to develop in the later portion of your program. So yes, we have used the similar book, that is New Headway 3rd edition intermediate level and students book. So I believe that you have this book in front of you, because I say that, as I said earlier, that the textbook is very much necessary, because whenever you will be reading you need to have a compare and contrast in order to understand everything in it. So let's see what are our contents for today's lecture video. Yes, we will be starting with the introduction. Definitely that's the very first thing which we will know about the introduction of this whole class. That's the point. And we will know the syntax of a sentence. I know you are familiar with this word syntax, but I feel that you need a little bit deep. You need to know a little bit deep in order to understand the reading comprehension as well. And of course we will be talking about the coherence and cohesion. And sometimes some might ask me and have this question in your mind that coherence and cohesion are very much necessary in writing, for developing writing skills. So what's the role of coherence and cohesion in reading? Yes, definitely we'll talk about that, of course. And pattern to read in detail. So we already have this kind of knowledge of skimming and scanning and looking for the gist and looking for specific information. So we need to know the pattern. We need to know the the strategy to read in detail, and we will be having a conclusion to give you a total picture of this class. So let's start with the introduction. So what is there? So what is detailed reading actually? So we are having this kind of introduction about detailed reading. So whenever we are referring as detailed reading, we are referring to get accurate information. So whenever we are referring to get some accurate information in there, we will be reading in detail. And whenever there will be some complicated material, maybe a book, maybe a report, and you have to respond on that. As I said, language is not only for your academic career but also your professional career as well. Maybe in your professional area you are given a report and you need to analyze that. You need to have a speech based on this report, and that is the time you need to read in detail in order to understand what is in that, as you can speak as well, as you can and deliver deliver your presentation about that report. That could be so whenever you need those kind of support, you need to have read in detail. And of course it allows the readers to critically consider aspects of the text. So aspects of the text, what do we mean by that? Aspects of the text, that means what is the sense. So you have in a written text there are many things missing. For example, the expressions are missing. just listen to me at this moment. Whenever I am saying, I have different pitch, I have different intonation. So sometimes I have a falling intonation, sometimes I have a rising intonation, sometimes I am producing stress in that. So that is the time you know the importance of those particular words. Look at this, look at the pronunciation of this word, the importance. Okay, so I have given some stress, I have given some high intonation in there, as you know that this particular word has a little bit of um, uh, impression in there. So but in written text you won't find that. There is a plain language in that. So that's why we need to understand the aspects of the text. We need to get the sense of the text. And how we'll do that? By detailed reading. And it may involve close reading of the entire text. Close reading does not mean that you will be very close to the text. That doesn't mean so. That means that you will understand almost everything in there in order to understand the thing. And of course, we are sometimes there can be question whether we should read quickly or we should read slowly. What will we do? But in detailed reading, we will read efficiently. Yes, efficiently means whatever we will read, we will be understanding that, we will be comprehending that. What is that mean? What does that mean? But here I should tell you that whenever we are talking about the meaning, we are not talking about Bengali meaning. Rather than we are talking about the sense. For example, if I say tiger, rather than having this meaning in Bangla, you should imagine, or you should portray a picture of a tiger. Yes, an animal which is ferocious, which has some signs in there, and the face, and the walking style and everything. You will have the complete sense of that particular animal tiger, rather than having its Bengali meaning. So that is what I am talking about. Whenever you will be having, you will be reading in detail, you will be trying to comprehend everything, you will have the complete sense of it. Okay, so don't forget that once you have found the information you want through skimming and scanning, then you will need to switch to reading for detail. So it's it's a step-by-step process. First, you should go for skimming or scanning in order to find the actual information which you need. Maybe you need maybe you are reading a newspaper, and you need to maybe you need to know the score of the match. Then you will be looking for the digits. Okay, so that is the time you will go for the scanning. And then after that, you want to know how this happened, how how Cristiano Ronaldo scored a goal, or how Lionel Messi scored it. I mean, how did it happen? Then it is the time to switch from scanning to reading for detail. So that is the time, that is the thing we are acknowledging that. And of course, it is very important to invest the time in learning to read for detail and guess from the context. So rather than going for the Bengali meaning of the phrase, or of the clause or the sentences, we will be having a little bit further time to understand. And so that's why we are talking about investing the time. So we will be investing the time in detail and guess from the context. So what is the scenery in there? Whenever you have the total picture of the sense, rather than going for a particular vocabulary, you will be trying to imagine what is there. You will be trying to guess what is there, and you will be, you know, exclude. You will be, what should I say? You will be plucking the information from there. Okay, you'll be getting the information from the text through imagination, through guess. But definitely you should have a have a synchronization of your guessing and imagination as well. So do not imagine a total different picture in there. You need to understand it through the context, through the other text, through the other phrases, words, or sentences. Okay, so we want to look about the syntax of a sentence. Syntax of a sentence refers to the structure, the sentence structure. So it could be your question that why should we are reading syntax, whether we are reading grammar. Okay, no, but you cannot exclude grammar from any kind of written text. The sentences you will see, everything is grammatical. For example, a complete sentence requires a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. Forget about what this sentence tells you. Just focus on the sentence structure. So whenever we are referring syntax or sentence structure, we are referring grammar, and grammar is all about the pattern. Grammar is all about a pattern. So here we are talking about a sentence which requires a subject, a verb, and which expresses a complete thought. So if we have these things, then you can say that is a complete sentence. For example, in this sentence, you know that is a subject, that is a complete sentence is subject, requires a verb, and it gives a it expresses a complete thought. Is that a complete sentence requires a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. So I am talking about the sentence structure. Why am I talking about that? Because if you understand the structure of a sentence, it will be very helpful to you to understand the meaning as well. Because reading and writing are very closely connected. That is why whenever somebody asks me what should I do to develop my writing, I you know I just suggest him or her or recommend him or her to read a lot, to read the authentic text, to read the types of the things she is going to write. He or she needs to read that types of text. For example, you want to write a drama, you want to write a novel, then you need to read more novels and more drama. So that is the thing I'm talking about. So whenever you will have this complete thought, so it can be called as independent clause as well. That means there is nothing is dependent. But whenever you have a sentence without a subject and a verb, it will be considered a fragment, and this fragment is also known to you as phrases. You know these things. So we are talking about four baselines in order to understand the English syntax. So you know that the sentence structure are different based on languages. In Bangla we have subject plus object plus verb. Yes, in Bangla we have subject plus object plus verb, but in English we have subject plus verb plus object. So that is the thing we are saying, that the structures are different in terms of languages. So you need to understand that. That is the thing we are I mean that is why we are facing problems as a Bengali speaker. The sentence structure is different. That's why many of us have problems on understand the structure of an English sentence. So that's why we need to understand English syntax as well. So these are the four base outlines. First one, we say that there should be a subject, there should be a verb, and that express a complete thought. And then we would like to know the second thing, and that is separate ideas generally require separate sentences. A sentence containing multiple independent clauses that are improperly joined is considered a run-on sentence. So that is the that is the stage when I should introduce coherence and cohesion, but coherence and cohesion will be introduced just after this slide probably. So we need to understand this thing is that you can add separate sentences in order to have different ideas. For example, I want to go to school and then I want to study seriously. So you have two different thoughts, you have two different ideas. First is you want to go to school, and second thought is, or second idea is, you want to read it attentively or seriously. So these thoughts are joined through a character that is end. But you know that sometimes we make it complex, or we make some mistakes in order to do that. So we have to look on that, because if you join the sentences improperly, then it will be known as a run-on sentence, which is very difficult to understand as well. So whenever you will be reading a text, you will find that these texts are these texts have a very good connection. So you need to follow this connection in order to write as well. So you need to look at that. And then English word order follows the subject verb object sequence. That's what I was saying here, subject verb object sequence. So you need to have this in mind. So whenever you will be reading a sentence, you need to find where is subject, where is the verb, and where is the object. So if you know who is talking, or what is talking about, and you know what is going to happen, or what is going on, and you know that to whom are we talking about, the object in there, you will have a complete sense. But the thing is that sometimes we do not have we have a lack of ideas about the subject and the verb, so that gives us a problem to understand the sentence. So that's why you need to understand English syntax. For example, a complete sentence in this sentence here, a complete sentence is a subject in here rather than sentence, or a, or complete. Together it makes a subject, a complete sentence. Then we have the recurse as a verb. So you need to understand these things. So if you don't find this pattern, you will be face difficulties to understand the sentence. Okay, so now coherence and cohesion. So lots of the information in there, as I wanted to show you in one picture. So I hope it is not a problem for you. So coherence and cohesion. So let's give a basic idea about cohesion. So whenever we are referring cohesion, so we are referring the grammatical, lexical, semantic, metrical, and alliterative sense. So whenever we are in one sense, whenever we are saying that texts are linked together, the way or the elements which makes a text together, that is what we refer as cohesion. And cohesion is very different and from coherence, because a text can be internally cohesive but incoherent. Okay, so maybe the sentence is fine, but it doesn't make sense. So that is which we are referring as cohesion. And so that is the difference between coherence and cohesion. So cohesion is always many ways in which the elements of text are linked together. So I mean, subject, verb, object, so the way these things are together. So that could be grammatical. For example, we need to use am after I. That is a cohesion. Rather than he and is. Okay, we cannot use he and am. He am a boy. No, we cannot say that he is a boy. So that is the thing we are talking about, grammatical. And there are lexical as well, that means the word related as well, and semantic as well, and metrical as well, and alliterative as well. Okay, so, and what is coherence? Coherence is what makes a text semantically meaningful. So what does it mean by semantically meaningful? So you need to understand that what is the sentence, whether it is logical or not. For example, if I say the cows are eating rice, so that should be little, that doesn't sound okay in a way. Cows eating rice, that doesn't sound so. Maybe it can be happening. The sounds the cows are eating rice, but rather than rice, we know that eating grass is more perfect. It is more semantically meaningful. We know that it is possible that the cows are eating rice, but whenever that is the thing we are talking about, lexicality and semanticity. We do not know, we know that it is not okay whenever we are talking about that lexicality and semanticity. We need to produce different words and phrases to have this meaning that the cows are eating rice. So we need to make these things, or make these ideas logically connected in order to produce meaning. And we can say this sentence as well. For example, the kings are female. Yes, yes, it can be happening, you know. The kings are female. We know that kings and female does not complement each other. We need to use the kings are male. So kings and male just complement each other. So that's the thing we are talking about, coherence. So whenever in a sentence we need to understand this coherence and cohesion. We are talking about the lexical and grammatical cohesion. Let's have an example of this. The reference to the meaningful relations between sentence elements. This involves the repetition of the same word or use of a synonym, hyponym, meronym, and antonym. You know about synonym and antonym. We will talk about hyponym as well. So you need to understand this. For example, birds is one kind of animal. We can say that. And then magpie is a bird. And we can say parrot is a bird. We can say that. So parrot is a bird, parrot is an animal, we can say that. And we can say that dog is an animal, and then poodle is one kind of dog as well. So the section is poodle is an animal, birds animal, parrot animal, dog animal. But we cannot say we cannot replace birds with dogs. We cannot say we cannot replace parrot or magpie with the dogs, because it does not go with this. So that is what we're saying. For example, birds are beautiful. Everybody likes birds. So here, birds are beautiful. Birds are beautiful. Everybody likes birds. So we are complementing here. We are repeating the sentence. We are showing the cohesion in there. So whenever you will be reading the sentence, or whenever you will be writing the sentence, you need to produce the cohesion in order to understand what are we talking about. So we are referring the birds which we referred in this previous sentence. So here this referential expressions will be there in written text, which is not possible to show in a written text. So that's how we'll be showing. And of course, whenever we are talking about the grammatical coherence, we know that grammatical relations between text elements, that's what I said earlier in this slide. Anaphora, that is Jane was brilliant, she got the best score. So we are referring she in place of Jane. Okay, so we are referring she in place of Jane. So we are talking about this. Jane was brilliant, she got the best score. So that is what we are referring. You need to understand this one. So please come here. You will find a chalk. Okay, you will find a chalk in the table. So please come here. You will find a chalk in the table. That means here there is a table. So these kinds of references, these kinds of connection in a text is referred as cohesion. So we are talking about this coherence and cohesion in a written text. So you need to look very closely about this coherence and cohesion. It will not only help you to understand the text, but also help you whenever you are going to write. Okay, now we have the examples. We have the theories. I know theories are always boring. So in this particular slide, there are lots of the theories I have introduced, but definitely this is the time to go for an example to look at the coherence and cohesion. So this is the example I use mostly. That is making a cup of tea. Personally, I am a tea freak. Yes, I have to take tea a lot. Yes. So let's start with this written text. There are three components of a cup of tea. One of them is tea leaves, which is a must-need element. Another one is water, without which you cannot make a cup of tea. And the third is the cup itself, In the first stage, you need to boil the water. In the next stage, you need to pour tea leaves. Your tea is ready then, but based on your taste, you can add ginger or lemon or milk along or without sugar. Milk along or without sugar. Finally, just pour the mixture into a cup to enjoy a cup of tea. So here we would like to identify the connections among these sentences. So let's see. First one is let's see the remarks. The topic sentence introduces the three components which are then explained in more detail. Yes, so the topic sentence say that there are three components. So in a good text you will find the connection between the topic sentence and the body. So this is the topic sentence, this is body, and definitely you will find the conclusion is there. So in a topic sentence you will find a reference which will be given in the body as well. So that is an example of a good text. So whenever you will be reading a text, you will know that there are some reference in the topic sentence or the first lines or the introduction in there which will be defined or explained and in detail in the next stages. And then the verbal breeze, the second sentence includes a keyword water, linking the idea to the previous sentence, though in a different form from earlier element. So here we are rephrasing. Look at the second sentence and say, what is the second sentence? Is like this. So here, the second sentence includes the keyword water. In the first stage, you need to boil the water, okay, and in the next stage, you need to pour tea leaves. Okay, previous sentence were different from the word element, so you know that with three components or three elements in there. We are talking about the components or elements in there. One of them is tea leaves, which is must need element, and another one is water, without which you cannot make a cup of tea, and the third is the cup itself. Yeah, so whenever we are referring water in here, then we are referring is it is an element, and we are referring is a component. So we can say water is an element and water is a component as well. So these are the references, these are the verbal breezes we are saying. So same repetition is happening in the next stages as well. So we have to look about the sentence. So now we know that whenever we are referring three components, and we can say that three elements as well, and those three elements are tea leaves and the water and cup. So tea leaves is number one, and the water is number two, and the cup itself is number three. So those are the three elements in there. So you need to understand this connection. And the logical breeze, the process of the first two stages are described in parallel form. The final sentence sums up this process clearly signaled by finale. So here you know that we are talking about the coherence and cohesion, why the sentences are connected with each other. So here we started with the three components, and then we referred the components, and then as you know that here we are talking about the process of making a tea. So we started with the first stage, and then we include the next stage in the second sentence, and we used finally in the last sentence, which gives you the complete sense of what is going to happen. So we know the steps and processes in there. So whenever you will be reading a text, you need to looking for this logical breezes in a text. You need to understand these types of coherence and cohesion in order to get a total sense. Okay, now is the high time we go to the text, and that is the text pages. So sometimes you may find problem about identifying or searching the text, but most of the time I give you the page numbers and units. So what I will be suggesting you to just go through the unit. You know, there are maybe 10 or 12 pages in a unit, so that is very easy to understand. Don't lose hope at the very beginning that we are not finding these things. So that's okay. So the textbook 1, new headway, 3rd edition, intermediate students book, and that is unit 6, page 46 to 53. and the name of this unit is, I just love it, but you know that that is the name of this unit, but the name of this text is Global Pizza by Connie O'Donnell. So that is what our text for today. Okay, so a brief story of pizza, that is the topic we are talking about. So let's read it, but you need to listen very closely the way I read, and you need to underline whenever you'll be reading. So definitely you should follow me the way I read and underline. You need to do it whenever you will be practicing reading as well, and you will be trying to read in detail. It's kind of silly to talk about the moment when pizza was invented. It gradually evolved over the years, but one thing is for certain, it has been around for a very long time. The idea of using pieces of flat, round breads as plates came from the Greeks. They called them plakuntos and ate them with various simple toppings such as, well, garlic, onions, and herbs. So here we are having the introduction of this text. So the words I underlined, where that I underlined them when I found them not understandable, not comprehensible, or when I found that those are the keywords. Both ways I have underlined. So whenever you find that you do not know the meaning of this particular word, so you can underline those, and whenever you find that, okay, that could be exposing the sense of the sentences, so that could be the word you should underline. It's kind of silly to talk about the moment when pizza was invented. So we are talking about the invention of pizza, so definitely it is a keyword in this particular sentence. It gradually evolved over the years, but one thing is for certain, is it has been around for a very long time. So that is two ideas in this particular sentence, and that is before but and one other is after but. It gradually evolved over the years. That is a complete clause, that is an independent clause, nothing that is nothing it depends on. So this particular part of the sentence gives you a complete sense. It gradually evolved, so it has changed from its beginning to the present time. But one thing is for certain, it has been around for a very long time. So whenever we use but, we know that there is something before that, so we cannot say the sentence as a free clause or independent clause, because it is dependent on this one, because we added but in here. So that is what we are talking about as sentence structure. The idea of using pieces of flat round bread as plates come from Greeks. So here this particular phrase is pieces of flat round bread as plates come from Greeks. So it's come from here. Whenever we referring pizza, it's pizza. So that's the topic. It's kind of silly to talk about the moment when pizza was invented. So pizza was invented, and invention, these are very coherence. There is a good coherence and cohesion with this title in here. So definitely you should be able to connect it. So that's the main sense. Okay, that's the second section. The Romans, we are talking about the history of pizza. The Romans enjoyed eating something similar and called it pichia by about 1000 AD, that is after death, Christ after death. In the city of Naples, pichia had become pizza, and people were experimenting with more toppings. So we are talking about the toppings now. So there we will find more toppings in there: cheese, ham, anchovies, and finally the tomato brought to Italy from Mexico. So from Italy to Mexico, there's the invention from there, from Naples, from pizza to pizza. And Peru in the 16th century. Okay, Naples became the pizza capital of the world. In 1889, King Umberto I and Queen Margherita heard about pizza and asked to try it. They invited pizza maker Rafael Esposito to make it for them. He decided to make the pizza like the Italian flag, so he used red tomatoes, white mozzarella cheese and green basil leaves. The queen loved it, and the new pizza was named Pizza Margherita in her honor. So if you're looking for the understanding, you know that some things you might not understand, so but you should not stop, because as I said earlier, in a detailed reading you should invest time. You should need more time to understand and to go through. So if you don't understand any part of it, just don't stop, just continue reading with the pace and the flow. Okay, so you will get you might get a sense on it in order to understand the previous ones. So just get with it, and do not forget to understand the pattern. So I am showing the pattern how to read, and don't forget about these underlinings. Okay, you should do that. Okay, that is the last part of this text. Pizza migrated to America with the Italians at the end of the 19th century. The first pizzeria in the United States was opened in 1905 at 53.5 Spring Street, New York City by Gennaro Lombardi. But the popularity of pizza really exploded when American soldiers returned from Italy after World War II and raved about the great Italian dish. So as this was invented from Italy, so it was referred as the great Italian dish. So the great Italian dish is a replacement of pizza. So you need to understand that it is a replacement of pizza. Americans are now the greatest producers and consumers of pizza in the world. So greatest producers and consumers of pizza in the world. So there are some trivia at the end of this text. Definitely you will find that just after the text, even there some trivia like how many pizzas are produced in America and what is the total cost of this this pizza industry. So the business is related with pizza, you know, lots of the things are involved, the pizza, the restaurant, and the toppings, and you know, the cheese. All of the things are related with this pizza business, and this whole business is worth a lot. So now we have the questions. Definitely all the time we have the questions, but this is the time I will show you how to find this one. So we talked about the skimming, we talked about scanning, now we are talking about reading in detail. So what will we do? So let's see. So let's start with the question number 3. What year was pizza invented? So so here we need to know the name, or we need to know the year, that's all. So what will you do? Skim, scan, or digital reading? Yes, those who guessed as scan, they are correct. So we need to go for the scanning because we are referring a number in here. So you know that in this particular text it will be very easy to find the letters, no, not the letters, but the digits. Okay, rather than the letters, it will be very easy to find the numbers. So here one thing is that 1080, so there is one number in there, 1905, and then 53. These are the digits. So definitely we know that whenever we have been looking for the year pizza was invented. So now we have found the digits number in there. Now we need to read in detail whether we have guessed it correct, whether we have found it correctly. By about 1000 AD, in the city of Naples, pizza had become pizza, and people were experimenting with more toppings, cheese, ham, anchovies, and finally, okay, so whether it is correct or not, we need to have this ensured. We need to be 100% sure whether we have the correct information. So we need to go before 2 sentences. They called them placentos and ate them with various simple toppings such as garlic, onions, and herbs. The Romans enjoyed eating something similar and called it pizza. By about 1080, in the city of Naples, pizza had become pizza, and people were experimenting. So, what year was pizza invented? And that is 1080. So that's the answer. So you can write in 1000 AD pizza was invented. Okay, so that's the information we can find out. So that is the way I am talking about to read in detail. Okay, let's have another example. What does McDonald's golden arch span the globe mean? McDonald's golden arch is span the globe mean. So what is that? Why is that? So now there's the problem in there. We are looking for McDonald's golden arches. So here you can find that this is capital, this is capital, so this is capital. So that could be a name. If maybe you do not know the meaning of span, so forget about that. In an exam you will not get a chance to look at the dictionary, so you might know the mean is, but you need to find the information. Why is McDonald's golden arches? So now you need to scheme. So whether scheme and scan both, where is McDonald's golden arches? Okay, so you do not find it. What is no there? Okay, so that could be a problem. So I need you to show what is there and what should you find and read and write. That's the important thing. So whenever you will not find the answers in there, so that means you cannot use your sense, you cannot use your previous knowledge, you cannot use your memory to answer this one, because that's the rule of reading text, of reading comprehension. You cannot use your own sense or own knowledge or own ideas to give the answer. If the answer is not there, definitely two things might happen. First, you have not found the information there, or the question is in the wrong position. So you need to skip those. So definitely these things are not in the text. So maybe I missed this, or maybe I intentionally did not produce in there. So that's the thing, you know. So whenever you will not find this information, you need to skip this. But you should be informed that most of the time the informations are there. So I have given these things in order to make you learn these things, that you need to find the proper information. So in IELTS test there is a true false section, and there you will find another section that is not given. That is another option after true false. There is 3 options in there in IELTS reading comprehension in a true false category: true, false, and not given. So whenever you will find this information which is not given in text, you should be referred as not given. So that's why I need to show you these things. Which came first, Pichia or Placunthus? How are they different from pizza? So now it is time to find the Pichia and Placunthus. So here we have found Pichia, and then we need to find Placunthus. Now this is Placunthus. So now through scan and scheme we have found this one. Now we need to read in detail in order to give this answer. Which comes first, Pichia or Placunthus? So you know that we found Placunthus first, because those things were invented by Quakes. So Placunthus come first rather than Pichia. So how are they different from pizza? You need to pick this information through detailed reading. So that's how you should read. So that's the whole example. I will not be going with the rest of the questions. Definitely I will give it for you assignments or quizzes. So do not just skip this. Just go with your textbook and try to find the answer. Okay, so now the practice. So we have found that practice is always important in order to have the proper sense whether you have understood or not. So definitely you should practice. But yes, so there is a but is there, because this time I have not given you a book reference, rather I have put you a newspaper text. So that is the first guided reading I am offering to all of you, is that you need to read a newspaper daily, and that should be an international edition, or you can follow UK edition, or you can follow Australian edition, or you can follow US variant as well. So primarily I will be recommending you to go for the UK edition in order to have this proper idea on there, because it will not only help you to understand the real sentences, that means the authentic text, the text which has a real life application. For example, you will find these kinds of text, the patterns of this text in your daily life. These texts are produced for daily life use, so you need to read this. So primarily my suggestion is to read 500 words text daily. Yes, daily means do not use holidays in there, just read 500 words. I know most of you read newspapers, and at the time of pandemic, so it is easy to read a newspaper. Just click on theguardian.com, so you will find the Guardian newspaper, and just read any of the topics. Okay, so there are a news section, opinion section, sports section, culture section, lifestyle section, and there are more options in there. So just choose a topic, a title, or an article and read the text. So that's it. Yes, that's it. Just read the text. James Bond, and here James Bond film, No Time to Die, delayed again over COVID. So that's the text. So you can read different texts in there. You do not need to understand everything. My suggestion is to as you read every day, if you read every day 500 words, I can guarantee that after 30 days you will find a difference in your reading comprehension. So in order to find the difference, you should record the first reading. Okay, so for example, you have read this particular article today, so just use your mobile recorder and record the recorded voice in there, and keep recording till the 30th day. And after 30 days of reading, compare the number one recording with the 30th one. So then you will find the differences, whether am I true or not. So definitely you will find that. But I should tell you that there are some translation issues as well, so definitely you should go through that as well, with different kinds of spoken text. So and definitely I will show you how to listen as well. So you need to listen as well in order to have correct pronunciation. So definitely we will go with that, so don't worry about that, just follow my instruction. So if you have any question about detailed reading, so you know where to ask, so just ask in the forum, so I will be answering there, so don't worry about that. So thank you very much for your patience, for your long patience. So if you want to go back and re-listen these things, I will specially recommend you to make a segment. So read or listen and the time when you prefer when you feel comfortable. So do not give too much pressure on that to understand and these things. So definitely I am here to answer any of your question. So thank you again, and to come at this part in here. Thank you very much.